All right, and go.
Hello, and welcome back to the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with
Welcome.
myself, Jordan Rookus, and Fawn Baker.
Thanks for joining us today. Well, we're just going to kind of jump right in. You
Yeah,
got just me and Jordan today. We might have our buddy Todd joining in.
got some squeaky wheels that we want to talk about today.
Yeah, it's a funny thing at Red Tree right now. We've got a fantastic team, and we've got like everybody's great people and great artists. So, but like this week in particular has been like a slew of squeaky wheels. Like that's what I like to like respectfully
Right,
call
and one squeaky wheel
difficult
affecting the
clients.
others, another squeaky wheel from someone else, because it's just
Yeah.
creates a chain reaction of not good feelings
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
people just, I don't know. I feel like it's a lack of respect in some ends and
So
a lot of things.
So before we really jump in, I kind of want to remind any tattooers that might be listening to us to share us with your clients or share us with your potential clients. I was thinking one of the things that we could maybe tell one of our coworkers is like, tell this difficult client, like, watch this show for 3 months and then come back and talk to me, because there's just like so many ways that clients like break etiquette and they don't even necessarily know they're doing it. But that's the whole point of this show, is to like not only teach you what to expect as a collector and teach you how to be a better collector, but like teach you the etiquettes that you might not know if you're not in the tattoo community. You know, we eat, sleep, and breathe the tattoo life and the art life, and like,
and we literally always want the best for your tattoo. There's no tattoo where we want to like skimp this one by, like, yeah, you can, I guess there's the worry of that with tattoo artists, because there are a lot of people like that out there, but also, I don't know, here you just you don't really experience that. We all want the best for your tattoo, so you're not going to like, we're not, if we don't contact you or you don't hear from us for a week or two or something like that, like that's
just a busy artist. A lot of us don't even check our
right.
own
If you have an
emails,
extra,
or
if
if
you
we
have an extra
do,
session, if there's something like, we're never trying to take more money than we want. We want your tattoo done as quick as possible, but we also don't want to rush it. But we also have potentially 60 other appointments in a month. You know, some of our artists will literally work 2 6-hour tattoos a day, which is insane. I can only do one a day, and I can't even handle tattooing 2 people a day anymore, unless they were very short.
yeah, it's just a funny thing. So one of the things that happened this week is we got one of our artists, and okay, there was a bad Google review. Somebody gave Red Tree 2 stars on Google. So
Don't know.
here's the thing. The project in question is it's a huge cover up. It's black work, and the artist that she wanted to fix and cover this piece for her has been talking to me for the last several weeks about this project, trying to figure out solutions, and I keep looking at it like, there's more to the story. There's more to the story. Like, I need to know more. Like, how come only that portion is finished? And why does she want this? And why didn't she go back to the artist that started it? Because it actually looks like a pretty good start to what she's asking for. Like, I feel like she's got unrealistic expectations. Cut two, after Corey, our coworker, after she has been like going out of her way to like figure out how to make this a successful project. She's talked to me about it. She's talked to Derb about it. She's talked to other coworkers about like how she can take this and make it a successful tattoo. And Derb was even like, at your level, you shouldn't even be worrying about cover ups. But Corey's like, but I really want to make her happy. So meanwhile, Corey leaves town. She goes on vacation for 5 days. And then we end up with a bad review that an artist didn't get back to her for 2 weeks. Like,
Right.
do you know how many messages some of us get every day?
Explaining pretty much that, you know, just the fact that they didn't get back 2 weeks and that it's bad business practice and all that. But
like, this isn't a cut and dry situation. There is a lot of extra to the situation. And like, she's already gone out of her way, even like entertaining to take on this project. And then like, so, okay, here's the thing that this potential collector, this artist, here's the sticky spot that they've gotten in. Nobody at Red Tree will ever take a project on from them. No other artist in Columbus will
Yeah.
take, like, if they know that she's been a squeaky wheel at Red Tree, like if you're a problem at a studio like this, all the other studios are like,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm gonna pass. So like,
There will
as
be
a
there will be
collector,
someone out there for her, but any I don't know, anyone with
as a collector,
anyone in
if
the
you don't
actual
have,
tattoo communities is definitely going to step back from that.
yeah, as a collector, if you don't have like a modicum of patience, then you're making the situation hard for probably an already stressed out and overworked artist. Like we talk about it all the time. This is the busiest the tattoo industry has ever been. Like everybody who is good is booked out for months and months right now. And if they're not, they're strategically keeping it that way. Like I am very careful and very strategic to not book myself out 6 months, but I always have a waiting list. I probably have 2 years worth of people on a waiting list just waiting for a consultation. Like I have clients that like every 3 months, I just bounce an email just to see if they're still interested and want to still be on the list. So like after a few days or a week or 2 weeks, if you haven't heard from a busy artist,
Just keep
be
waiting.
patient.
Yeah, be patient.
Yeah,
Be
that's my
patient.
advice. It's not
Unless
even
you've
like,
put, yeah, I mean, just definitely be patient. Honestly, it's really nice now that I don't have to worry, when you have an assistant. So having, she gets back to things so quickly. So that's really nice. But at the same time, when I didn't have that, I was definitely like, I would answer emails once every 2 weeks. Like,
oh man, see, I was
once
the
every 2
opposite.
weeks, and
I
it'd
would,
be a big one. It'd be one big thing, and then I'd get to everybody. I'd get a bunch of consultations set, and it'd be cool. So I can get you out of my inbox and into actual, like, the physical thing. But like, if I was to keep up on that every day, I can't do that with friends and family in my life. Like I have to, like,
yeah.
I
So
have
this
to
is
just
what
have a
I
way of
ran
doing it.
into before I had a manager taking care of my things. Is I would try to respond to a handful of emails every day before I came into work. So it's a handful of people that I'm talking to about potential ideas. Some of them are home runs, some of them aren't. Some of them require a little bit extra attention. But that's like 5 or 6 people that I'm corresponding with. And then I don't even get to the people below that. But my inbox list keeps getting longer. But I can only I
You
only
only
have the
physically
mental
do so much,
capacity
yeah.
and time to get to a handful of messages a day. So
Either way you do things, it's a stressful situation, and
and here's
it's just hard to balance, and it's hard to
here's the
figure
thing
out the
about a
proper
busy tattooer
way to go about that.
or any quality tattooer. We want to focus on the tattoo that we're doing because it's forever, it's permanent, and it's got our name on it. We take pride in it. So like when I'm tattooing, like my phone might be in sight, but I'm not going to take my gloves off to answer it or mess with it. Somebody's paying for my time right now. So if you're emailing me or you're texting me or you're Instagram messaging me, like during my working hours, you're not going to get a response back. And then if I work till 2 a.m., do you really want to have that conversation at 2 a.m.? Okay. So when I get up, I have a couple hour window before I come back into work. So I only have so many people that I can get
And
to in that
literally
couple hour
one of the
window.
worst things I can do with my client, like one of the literally the worst conversations I can have with my client, is the one where I have to explain all that to them.
Yeah.
Where I even have to get to the point where I'm like, look, this is how my time works. And this is how a busy person's time works. First off, I know you live in a land of being bored all day. I don't know what you're doing and why you're contacting me 8 times a day.
What do you
But
think would have happened? Like how
even
different would my
starting that
life?
conversation's painful. Like I'm like this, it's
So we've done a little bit of griping about like the point of view of tattooers. Like, so collectors, be patient. Be patient. That's the trick. That's the one and only trick, is just to be patient. If you're patient and you're chill and you've got a good project, your artist is going to be excited to work on you when it's your turn. It's just, you've got to be patient till it's your turn. That's the only trick.
we want you to have
So,
a tattoo. We want you to have a good
as a
tattoo. We don't want to
collector,
do you wrong.
could you imagine if, like, let's rewind, 9 or 10 years when I was first trying to like get acquainted with Adam and have him work on me and like was throwing ideas to him. Can you imagine if the first time he told me no, like to work on my idea a little bit more? Like, can you imagine the first
you
time he
left him a bad
politely told
review?
me no, that if I would have left him a bad review?
Oh my God. You would never have all the work you have done on you right now, all these things. You just burn a bridge. You
Yeah.
burn bridges with the
Yeah,
entire
but you know
shop,
what? I
the
was
entire
patient.
tattoo community.
I saw him.
Unless it's for real reasonable. If someone, I mean, you leave a bad review if, like, I don't know. There are things that are definitely reasonable to leave a bad review.
Well, like,
about,
first
but
of all, you kind of got to get
have some
tattooed
fucking
before you can leave
perspective.
a review, right? Like, you got to have the service rendered before
Right.
you can leave a review.
Right. Exactly. Or if maybe you had a consultation and they were super, super weird or something like that. You know what I mean? Or like, and if I'm saying super weird, that's me being nice. If they were sexual or like harassy or something and you got a weird feeling, I don't know, maybe just leave and not come back. But
it's just a funny thing. Like I feel like sometimes people that leave reviews feel like it's their power and they have the right to do so and people need to know. But at the same time, like, girl, you just shot yourself in the foot. You're not going to get anybody good to work on your atrocious tattoo that needs fixed because of whatever reason you flaked out on your first artist. Probably, my guess. Got the tattoo started and
So
you
I
didn't
guess
get it finished.
what would be reason? So what would be some reasonable things? So say to a Karen, and you're like, Karen, I know you just want to write this bad review really bad. Like,
That's the
so
funny
what
thing.
are some
Her
reasonable
initials are
things? Like,
KD. So can we call her like
yeah,
Karen
yeah, right.
D? Let's
Yeah.
not even throw any
Right.
fake names.
Karen-
Karen D.
Karen-
Let's talk.
Karen Dunce. That's what I'm calling her. Karen Dunn.
Jess is losing it over there.
Karen Dunn.
So
All right. So
Karen-
no, Karen, we know you want to write this review really bad, but we think we think your
We think
ideas
you
are
should-
completely unreasonable, but we
Wait.
know you're going to do it anyway. So what are some reasonable,
Reasonable bad reviews for a
so
tattoo
if-
shop?
right? So if she wanted to really write that
Oh.
review, what are some things that
Hypothetically, like a hypothetical bad review, cleanliness. If a shop isn't clean, I think that's a reason for
and then what's pushing
a
it?
review.
So what are the levels on that as well?
Um,
Like, I mean, I guess we don't got to get too much into that.
I don't know. There is professionalism. I mean, there's a reason why every time I have a consultation with a new client, it's like, hey, like I smoke a lot of weed. I smoke weed on my breaks. Are you cool with this? And I feel like that's the only thing that allows
Right.
me to even call it
And
a
I would
professional
not
because
say
I'm open about it.
Waiting
And
2
I
weeks
ask.
to get responded to is unprofessional, honestly.
Not
especially
with as
after,
busy as we
especially
are.
having a consultation and stuff. If it was a shop where like you can come in and get tattooed today, and you can get if you're not getting tattooed today, you can get tattooed tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's a little bit different because you know that, and I don't know. I still don't think that way. There's either a reason you're not getting responded to, or we're just very busy. And
Right.
we're usually very busy.
Yeah, it's one of those and the conundrum of it is that Corey was really going out of her way trying to figure out how to make this lady happy. Like she was really like, even though Derb was already like, you don't even need to take on a cover up, like politely tell her no. Corey was still like, I really want to make her happy. Like I really like, you know what I mean? Like she was
And that's
already
usually how it
like she
goes.
was already putting so much brain power into it. Like she was already really thinking and really trying to come up with a solution for this project. So it's one of those like, if this girl would have just waited maybe 2 or 3 more days, she could have had her appointment scheduled. Where like the only thing she did wrong, she just wasn't patient enough. She should have just waited a little bit longer because Corey was really putting brain power in and talking to other
Right.
artists and trying to figure out how to make this a successful tattoo and like do what the girl originally wanted. So
Yeah, I think in that, if the shop is clean, your artist was friendly, they do good work. Actually, it's very hard to find a reason to write a bad review. Like,
yeah,
You
like
know,
like
that-
if you
that's
don't
just-
get along with an
it's
artist,
just
just find
stupid.
another artist.
it's
like
spiteful,
it's like
it's stupid. I understand you might not feel as special as you felt when you first came in because you've been waiting a little while, but you need to learn some patience because the world doesn't revolve around you. This tattoo is going to very much revolve around you, but what it doesn't revolve around is your time, and it revolves around our time and your time. It's a mixture of both. But if
you know,
if the
I want to
scales
jump
are
in. I want to
uneven-
jump into something you just said. You said that it revolves around our time. And the reason that that's so important and so like special for a tattooer is because our time revolves around 30 other people
Yeah,
every
it
month.
revolves
Our
around
time
the time
isn't
we spend
really
with you.
like when I say my time, only a small fraction of my life is actually like
My
spawn
time.
time. It's a very small fraction. Other than that, like my time means this is time with other clients. This is time that I actually have a machine in my hand and ink up to my elbows. Like this is like, so the fraction of time that I'm not tattooing, let's call that 50% of my time. 50% of my time I'm here tattooing with a machine in my hand, ink up to my elbows, client on my table.
10% of that time probably goes, and then 10% you get to probably add to that. That's probably even, just the other things you do.
Oh, no, I
to
was going
make
to
that
add,
even happen.
okay, so outside of that 50%, I've got 50% not tattooing. 50% of that time is spent sleeping. So now we're down to 25% of my time. So let's set aside another 2 hours every day to catch up on emails, direct messages, all of those things. So that leaves me with about 15% of my time.
And then
So then I got to put in
10%
like
of that should
meals
probably
and
go to
driving
life
to work.
maintenance.
Yeah, then I got to put in like meals and driving to work.
Here you go. You get 15% to do that. But
About 8,
right.
about 8%
Right,
to
right,
like hang
right.
out with family
because you
and
want to
like
have the other,
pet my
you want to have the
dog.
other 7% there. Say if you had 15%
You're
there, you
right.
want to
You're
take
right.
the 8%
You're
to do
right.
that. But you
I
have
should
to, you
take
still
that
have, you still have
7%
to
and
split
give it to the squeaky wheel. You're exactly right. That's what I should do.
Yeah.
That's a really good
You
idea.
have 7%
Jordan.
left. You should just give it to all.
That's a
all
really
of
good
that
idea.
left to the client.
0 time for
Right.
myself
And
and
give
my
them
own
your phone number.
daydreams.
Give them your phone number so they can call you too.
You know what? I'm going to do one up. I'm going to give them my phone number and my mom's phone number and also her address.
So when
that,
we don't
like,
give you our phone number and you think that's kind of weird, shut up. Just shut up. Shh. Shut up.
It's funny. I've got clients that have been my clients for years
I've had
and
people
years.
get offended
and
by me not giving them their phone.
And I'll realize that we don't have one another's number. And sometimes it's kind of weird because we've hung out outside of tattooing and like we still just communicate on Instagram or email and it's fine. But it's like inevitably, occasionally there's this person that'll get my phone number from a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy that I worked on. So my phone number has traveled a little bit. So by the time it's made it,
days where you started tattooing, where maybe you
where
gave
I'd
your
give
phone
people
number,
like
a couple
stacks
people,
of business
where it's
cards.
like, yeah, just text me and we'll get at it because you just started your business.
Mhm.
You don't know any
Yeah.
better.
So you got this person that got your number like 5 links down the chain, and they think it's appropriate to call you at 2:30 because the bar's closing and they need to talk to you now. So your phone rings and then it rings again and you don't answer it. And then it rings again and you're like, I don't know this number. And then it rings again and you're like, maybe there's an emergency. And you answer it and it's some drunk guy talking about this cover up that he wants and how he wants a whole portrait of a landscape.
We love
a whole
tattooing.
portrait of a landscape.
We love tattooing, but we don't love tattooing that much.
I want a whole mural of a portrait of a landscape with a mural up my side, a mural and a portrait and a landscape. That's how the conversation goes when the wrong people get our phone numbers. So it's like when it seems weird that we don't give our numbers out, like we've probably had a few difficult people that have made us like,
it's never you.
It's for people that are really close to me. Like that's how my family contacts me.
Right. Because it'll be like at the end of a consultation or something like that. Or it'll be like at a consultation or like, at the end of an appointment or something like that, where it's like, oh, hey, I get your number and I'll text you when I want to make another appointment or something like that. And then I'll be like, well, I don't really give out my number and stuff. And like, I can like see it in their face. Oh,
yeah.
But no,
don't be put off.
That's lately here. That's lately here at Red Tree. I don't get people that are upset when I don't give up my number here because people are respectable. But at the same time, I have gotten those, just those eyes like, oh, okay.
So
it's like I really don't even want to have to explain that. Like, just understand. Very busy. I don't want anyone to have my number.
A trick, if you want to have a phone number that you can give out, is there's this service called Google Phone, I believe, and you get an actual phone number that people can text you and leave voicemails, but it actually dumps to an email inbox. But when you reply, it's like you're texting them back from that phone number, so they don't know they're talking to an email. Like, it feels personal. It feels like they're just texting you, but at the same time, like,
right.
It's just one of those, like, if your people would really rather communicate with a phone number, if that really makes them feel more comfortable than actually doing it the professional way through email.
I got 4 or 5 different messaging platforms on my phone that I have to shuffle through every day if I want to keep in contact with people who are trying to get in contact with me, which normally I just don't, because I just don't. Messaging and stuff, I just got such a weird thing with it. It's such a my time thing. Like, if you want me, text me or call me. But that's also reserved for the people that I love the most to give that information to. When it's messaging, like, I could go a week without messaging back. I got so many platforms that I can't be expected to get back to it. And then I get so many people where it's just like people that want tattoos and stuff. And I end up getting back to everyone and the people who want tattoos in my inboxes. But all I do is I tell you to go to my website. And I'm always going to do that. One place. I just think it's exhausting. It's exhausting even with, just communicating with friends and family. So having to do that with clients is just twice as exhausting. And then it makes me not want to do that with my friends and family because I'm so focused on the client aspect, which thank you, Emily. Thank you so much, because she's taken over the emails. And that is, we both have an Emily. We both have an Emily that
We
takes
do.
over our emails.
We
They're
both have
different
M's.
They're different Emilys.
My Emily goes
But
by M.
it's a
usually,
dream.
though.
If you're a tattoo artist listening to this, I mean, and you're busy, it is so worth it to have someone who's taking care of, create a system where someone can take care of it. And, you know, you can just be accountable to them.
Yeah,
You're not
Emily and I
accountable
got
to a million
together.
different people. They can all siphon through her and she can give you the most relevant information. He, she, whoever does it, but also just figure out a good system of payment and a good system of having it all happen so that like it can be sustainable and everyone can feel very good about the entire thing, because it's going to get stressful on both sides.
We got together last night, Em and I, and we spent probably 4 hours just sitting and like tweaking things on my webpage, looking at a few different like form services for people to reach out that are like really easy to communicate through. It's crazy how much work it takes to really communicate well. And even when you put that work in, as a collector, as the person reaching out, it still takes a while to hear back. Like when you don't hear back from an artist for a few weeks, it's not because they're ignoring you. It's because you answered or you replied to whatever message after all of these people. And each day, like there's just not enough time to get to you again. And sometimes we don't have time to even get to our emails every day. Or like Jordan said, he had one day set aside every 2 weeks. I know artists who like Monday is their day to sit and do paperwork, get to emails, things like that. For me, by the end of that one day, I'm so unhappy that like I have a chip on my shoulder that I'm not recovered from by the next week because I feel bombarded. I feel, I don't know. I'm kind of okay, collectors. I'm kind of letting you in on why artists sometimes act like they've got a chip on their shoulder. But it's one of those times. Like just a little bit ago, I was explaining like what a percentage of my time is actually left for me to do things that pertain to me and only me. And that's like 5 to 7% of my existence is dedicated to me. I mean, all of my
becomes
tattoos are
very-
happiness and dedicated
Right.
like to my happiness as well. But there's always another person that my energy is focused towards. So when artists get burnt out, we're never burnt out on the tattooing. We're never burnt out on the
Because that
tattooing.
percentage starts
What
closing in.
we get burnt out on is feeling like everybody around us wants a piece of our time and attention and energy. And at the same time, we don't have enough energy for ourselves to do what we need to sustain our own happiness. And then that's why you run into artists that have anger issues. You run into artists who have chips on their shoulders. You run into artists that struggle with depression. And it's because it really feels like everybody's pulling at us. And I mean, in reality, it's flattering. If there are 30 days in a month and I get 100 people reaching out, wanting work from me, that's 3 times as many people that I will ever have the opportunity to get to.
Right.
You know,
and we always get that thing. Oh, must be a
it must be flattering.
a good problem to have. It's
Yeah,
like,
it is a great problem to have.
but still like,
But when that many people want your time and attention and you want to give it to them, but you don't have it to give, you know, when people are like, why didn't you answer my message? It's like, well, I don't have an answer yet. You know what I mean? Like I'll leave messages unread. Like I'll look at the notification. I'll be like, okay, it's so and
I've
so
been
they
trying to
need
think
to
of
know
answers
this.
for the past 20
So I
people.
leave it unread so that I know I need to get back to that when I have an answer. Where if I like read it and it's checked off as read, then I will forget to even get the answer to them. And that's just being honest. Like,
I know I got the same exact system, honestly.
Like it's
And
not,
that's my like
it's like when we schedule and somebody's like, well, you make your own schedule, right? Just put me on a Saturday. It's like, I mean, yeah, I make my own schedule, but I make my own schedule around everybody else's life. Like,
right. What I love now is I love telling my client during our consultation or whenever I talk to them, I'm like, Oh, well, like, they'll tell me about dates and they'll tell me about, this is, like, I won't be able to do this or all this, or like they'll want more communication and I'll just be like, oh, that's awesome. Well, you email Emily and she and she will find a date. I'm not in control of my calendar anymore, so I have no idea what days I have open right now. I'm pretty sure we're looking at March, but she will get at you with an email with dates ASAP. Ends there, and they're super happy, and she gets back to them and they find a date, and
Mhm.
I don't stress over what days I do or don't have open or how many people I have in a month. I just know who I have to tattoo this week, and I work for that every week, and every week I do that.
Mhm.
Because my whole entire life, when I have to think about the next 60 appointments I have, it makes me want to rip my hair out. It makes me go crazy. All I
It's
think
like
about
you're accountable to
I
too
start
many
think I
people at
start thinking
once.
about those percentages. When I start thinking about my life in percentages, where I'm giving all my time away and I only have this much percentage, and my life becomes this math equation of like knowing exactly how much time I have.
And
It's
then
different.
and then you
That's when I get stressed out. And that's when I get depressed. And that's when I start getting like irritated and angry with things. It's that I feel like I have no time, or by the time I have time, I got all these things in my head I always want to do. I got so many projects, and so it's just such a project oriented kind of person. When I just feel like I have no time for the things that I need to do in my life outside of work or even work, I don't know. That's when I start getting existential dread.
existential dread. My thing is, my anxiety when my schedule gets out too far is like I stack my appointments pretty close together. Like, I mean, if I count, I don't count Thursday as a day off because it's technology day, it's podcast day. So like it's a work day for me. But like even with having that podcast day, I'm still tattooing 5 days a week. So
Right.
that gives
And you've
me,
given yourself a work day where you make zero money all day. So you're giving yourself away still,
I'm
for
just talking like energy used,
oh
not
yeah.
money in. But
Right. I know I feel that energy used, but also like I feel like there's more energy used in something like that because we are still giving ourselves away when like, in some sense of how other people feel, you might be better off, if say you had another work day in and you
mhm,
were working, or you could spend that time at home with your animals or something like that.
yeah,
But you choose to spend the extra energy, and it's not about the money. It's just about like, you're putting energy in without, the necessary physical result of it. There is plenty of or physical reward, and we get a lot of reward from this, but you know what I mean?
sorry, I was seeing if Todd was here yet. He should be joining any minute. I was just making sure I didn't miss him. Yeah, it's just so funny when like when I started off today's conversation, like when you're not in the tattoo world, when you don't eat, sleep, and breathe tattoos, you don't realize how bombarded artists can be. So like that's why so many times I talk about how manners are important. I talk about how patience is important because you don't want to be the squeaky wheel. You want to be the kind of client that every time your artist sees you, like they are happy to see you. They look at it like I've got some clients that I'm so comfortable with that like I'm in my pajamas. They're in their pajamas. I'm in my pajamas. Like, and I know we're just going to have a laid back day. We're going to get a whole bunch of work done. But in the meantime, we're so comfortable with each other that we can just kind of chill. You know what I mean? Those are the clients that like we look forward to and live for. Like the clients that like rain or snow, they're going to show up to their appointment, and when they show up, we're just going to have a blast. We're going to be working on rad projects. We're going to be having great conversations. But like in between, an artist that's that laid back and that cool to be around probably isn't texting me every 3 days about what their next tattoo session is going to be like. They're probably going to be like, all right, see you next month. And we
Mhm.
hug and I see them next
And
month and we pick up right where we
right.
left off.
I'm not gonna name it. I'm not gonna name any names at all. But I got some really good clients, and I really like them. And I like, I feel like they're friends when they come in and stuff. Like I'm happy to tattoo them. But then uh, some of them are those squeaky wheels when it's like they don't get upset about it. They're just overly talky and overly questioning over like the periods between our tattoo appointments and stuff, where they like are sending a lot of emails, whether it be something they're interested in, more reference photo, not even more reference photos, usually just, I don't know, more anything, and then expecting responses back, and like it'll even be just like friendly stuff and all
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, I don't got time to respond to like,
Yeah.
friendly shit over email and stuff. Like I want to be friendly and all that, but like I don't got time to like pleasantries and stuff over email as
You
much.
know, I feel like I've got a couple of clients like that right now, and it's a delight every time I see a message from them. But like sometimes all I
And that
can
is
do
how
is like
that's
just
kinda
throw
how
a
I feel.
LOL
If
in there,
it's a nice
or
thing, or
yeah,
if it's nice, and like they'll even ask, they'll be nice to be like a paragraph of nice stuff, and they'll like ask some questions and things, and I'm just like, I don't know. I just tend to not get back.
sometimes I'll even just be like, ask me again when we're in person.
Right.
And then that gives us something to talk about when we see one
Because then
another.
I don't respond because of it'll be a normal,
Mhm.
it take 2 weeks to get back. And I know you're really nice, but it's
Yeah,
not
so
really going to change for who you are. It's not about you. It's about just how I am with my habits. And so then I see them and like, they'll like, be like, oh yeah, that thing I sent you, a couple weeks ago. And it's like, oh yeah, I did see that, but sorry I didn't get back to you. But I love you, dude. Thanks for the cupcakes.
Mhm. There he is.
Hey, it's Godzilla.
What's up?
What's going on?
What
are ya?
up? It's Todd.
Good, good.
There we go. Can you hear us?
Yep, I hear you good.
Good. We got you too. So we were talking about we since we started today, we've been talking about like
Todd, have you ever had to be a squeaky wheel? Or no, I shouldn't put it that way. Todd, have you ever had any issues with any of your tattoo artists? Like whether it was like they had a problem with you. This started with, sorry, I interrupted you. She was talking about Yelp reviews, and we got like someone got a bad review here. So we kind of went into that, and like squeaky wheels and clients, being uncomfortable with their tattoo artists, or, whatever that whole balance is. Have you ever had a situation where you've had to be a squeaky wheel for it, or you felt the need to like overly assert yourself with your artist, where it's like, hey, or have you always just kind of just let them do their thing?
No, the only one that I could say that I would want to do that to is Megan sometimes.
Right, but you know her well too, and you're kind of at that point where
Yeah.
you kind of understand the situation sometimes, but you're not going to leave her a goddamn bad review.
Wait, I take that back. Yes, I did have a one thing, but I didn't go to a review about it. When I had started my TARDIS, I needed to have it done another session. And I was doing it at King Ink in Vegas. So it was all scheduled ahead of time. And that I get there and the guy says, well, I can't do it. So I happen to have the manager's number and I called him up and I go, hey, what the fuck's up? I've traveled all the way from Michigan and I got an appointment scheduled and now they're saying I can't do it. So he rectified that real quickly for me. So that was the only time where I say I had a problem.
You
That
know what,
sounds
Todd?
very
I
reasonable,
feel
though.
like that's a way better way of going about it than to just like leave a review that's not going to go anywhere. Because like
Mhm.
now that like this lady that left the bad. So here's the thing. Since you're joining late, so somebody left a review that their artist didn't get back to them after 2 weeks. In a
Hey,
nutshell.
for what? What?
Thank you.
Why though? I mean, your tattoo's done unless you have an issue.
No, the
Which
tattoo
would-
hadn't been done. They had
Okay.
they had spoken about a cover up idea, and in between that, Corey, our coworker, went on vacation for 5 days. So the client, and mind you, Corey had been working really hard to like work out ideas for this client. So it's not like Corey was just ignoring her. Corey was actually like trying to figure things out for this client. But anyway, she left a 2-star review that the artist didn't get back to her after 2 weeks.
Okay. Was he supposed to get back with her?
Well, I believe it was left on one of those, let me figure out what I can do for you kind of situations in the conversation. And then in the meantime, she went out of town for 5 days. So like that, out of sight, out of mind, artist is on vacation. And then when she gets back, this is
Right.
this review is
And
waiting.
we were talking about like my normal procedure for a tattoo, or when I was taking care of my emails, was I do all my emails once every 2 weeks, and I set all my consultations up then, and I spend the next couple of days kind of keep on going through my emails for when people respond and things. And so like that was a normal procedure for a long time, not the most ideal because people are waiting 2 weeks, but still all of my clients are very happy with my work and everything, and no one's ever a squeaky wheel about that. You know, I'm sure people like might be like, oh, I wish I got it earlier. You know, he'd get back to me early, but it's the way it goes, and you're always gonna be gotten back to unless
It's
it's just
taken me
something that I
months to hear
absolutely don't
back
want
from
to do.
artists.
Yeah.
That's the thing that
Even
blows my
Guy
mind.
took a month to get back
Yeah.
to me when I messaged him this last time.
Again, that should fall on the client. You know, I mean, to me, it sounds like they don't really understand the whole process about how artists work in that. And
That's
then,
what we're trying to get
I mean,
at.
and again, is that if you need to talk to your artist, you need to send that email. I mean, they have a work schedule too.
Mhm.
So, I mean, they're not going to drop everything just to serve you. Even I understand that. I mean, Megan's got clients and she has to design and everything else. I don't expect her to take all her time and design something for me and say, fuck you to everybody else. I'm in
Right.
line like everybody
Yeah,
else.
Todd's Tattoos #1. Fuck all y'all.
But Megan, I mean, from the way you describe her, it sounds like she's an incredibly dedicated artist. One of the things that we were talking about earlier was like the percentage of time that we spend working, which is 50%, and then the percentage of time that we spend sleeping, which is 25%, and then that other 25% that gets divided into answering emails, designing, and about 5 to 7% of our own personal time.
Yeah.
I can definitely see how a client, can think, it's not a good feeling to feel like someone doesn't care. So like to talk about a tattoo and then just not get back. And then like, I can see how someone can feel like, oh, they just don't give a shit at all. I can understand. I can understand that feeling, but I think we need to have more patience. People need to have more patience in general, not be so hard on themselves. And also all the things we've talked about, artists have a full life, a lot of things. You guys have, yeah. I don't know.
But
Patience.
here's the other thing that artists could do to alleviate some of this bullshit. Okay. You have a consultation for a
Mhm.
cover up, right? They should have a sheet printed to say, well, it's going to take me this X amount of time. I may contact you in this X amount of time.
That's a really good idea, Todd.
Clarify
Mhm.
things and then there's no
Unreal expectation.
Yes.
That's actually a really good idea. That could even be something like on an appointment card that we give somebody, or like maybe a postcard or something like that. It could be like, hey, like, be patient, like in all the professional ways.
Well, just say set some basic ground rules between client and artist. I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable on an artist's side.
I like that.
to
Establishing
do
ground
that.
rules.
Yes.
That way, if somebody's gonna be a squeaky wheel, they can know ahead of time before they start it.
Ground rules and protocol.
That's a really good idea, Todd. I think that might be something I start including in my consultation. It wouldn't take any time at all to print off a little card that, like, because sometimes for consultations, my clients will have homework. Like I'll need them to get up certain trinkets for references or find me photos, or you know what I mean?
Just
like
make a stack of cards that have it all on there.
Yeah, like just have like a little quarter sheet. Yeah, like have a little quarter sheet of paper.
Right.
Have like basically our contract, our
like these are our only expectations here.
Our agreement between one another. I'm committed to you, you're committed to me, and then on the back can be the homework that we need them to get together for our next appointment. That's a really good idea, Todd. I'm gonna implement that. See, this is why we have Todd on.
With all this too, I think that's a great idea. Honestly, I kind of want to do that. But I also want to get to the other fact of not to dog on any artists at all either, but sometimes we are very busy, and because of all that, sometimes it is our fault.
Forget.
And sometimes we do forget. And sometimes
Yeah.
we can be the squeaky wheel artist. We can be a very, very good artist, but we can still not act in all the right and proper ways. But we're trying. And we have a hard time sometimes because we're all going through a lot. And so if we don't get back to you for a while, maybe there's something going on in our own lives as well. Where my Monday, I can't spend 8 hours going through things because I fucking got a lot going on. And so now next week I have to go through fucking twice as many emails because I didn't do that. And now I'm overwhelmed and I'm starting to feel that burnout feeling. And I'm like, oh God, I got my percentages are running low.
And like, as a client, it's not your job to worry about your artist's mental well-being, but wouldn't it be nice if you cared that your
Yeah,
artist
wouldn't it
was
be nice if
healthy
you
and
cared?
happy and like mentally ready for you. Like,
And all my best
I'm not
clients, all
saying
my
it's
best
your
clients
job.
do act in that way
No.
too. Like they always make points to like say things like that. Like, "Man, I want you to feel the best that you're gonna feel." Like sometimes they'll come in with like a Red Bull or something or snacks or like, you know, I don't need you to do all that stuff, but like, you know, I don't know. We sure like it when you feel like we feel like you care to.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like it
Yes.
is all about your tattoo, and this is all about your tattoo, but at the same time, you know, understand the work that it takes to even make that happen in the first place, from the drawing to the
But you know,
consultation, the making the time to make all of it happen. I know it's our job, but it's a lot, and it's a different type of thing than other jobs and other things.
here's the other side of clients that people don't get, because again, we're collectors, we know what to expect. We have a whole, you know, we have ideas, we have plans, okay?
Mhm.
Now, the common person on this that comes off the street and tries to do this, and you'll get more of them than us, is, you know, the biggest one that problem I think is that everyone that tells a person it's permanent. It's on your body permanently. And some people freak out by that notion.
Hmm.
You know,
Right.
I think that
Things
leads
can be
to,
covered. Things can be reworked.
yeah. But again, it's in their mind, you know,
Mhm.
it's set in stone in their brain. And you know, they get a little apprehensive about certain things, you know,
Right. And then the idea,
they
the
don't
whole like
understand the process, you know, they
mentality of
get,
commitment. Mm.
yeah. So, you know, that's a problem, you know, a lot of that problem, a lot of the problems that stem between artists and that is that statement. Because, you know, I've heard common people go, well, tell me forever, you know, I just want to make sure that they do exactly what I want. And it's like, yes, I get that. But again, you have to trust the person you
Mhm.
go to uh, be able to create that vision that you have. You know, if
Man,
you don't have that trust because it's going to be on your body forever, well, that's going to lead to a lot of problems.
Yeah.
That's
Some
a
things can't just be like, you know, your own little Lego, you
Yeah.
know,
that's a talk I
fortress.
like to have with clients during our consultations. It's like, okay, so and because I work in such a some of the way I do things is really kind of backwards from the way other artists typically do things. And I mean, I'm comfortable and confident with it. But like for my collectors, sometimes it's like, okay, this is going to go through a phase where this looks like total garbage. It will not make sense at first. Just have
Yeah.
faith. I promise. And I, you know, sometimes I even show them like progress photos of other projects so they can see like, you know, once only the blacks are in there, it's not going to look the way it's really going to look. You know what I mean? I got to show them that there's a little bit of a process, but they've got to have that trust. If somebody came to me, like, let's say we're starting a full sleeve, in the first session we do the like the rough gray commitment lines, and then we do like the darkest jewel tones, and then I send them on their way. That's going to look like garbage. It's going to look like complete trash. And if they leave it like that, or they don't have confidence that the next layer will make all the pieces make sense, then I don't know. I could see how lack of trust or lack of understanding in my process could make somebody very nervous. But that's why I, you know, even when I do something like that, I try to have at least one little element that's fully rendered so that like even if the rest of it looks like garbage, you can be like, oh, but it's going to look like that.
Right.
You know, there's got to be that one little like jewel after our first session that like to give them hope that it all will look this good.
Mhm. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
definitely trust your artist. But I guess now I'm thinking
Trust and patience.
now I'm thinking of just like, you know, I think it brings us to like the 5-session type tattoo thing.
Mhm.
If when you start being a squeaky wheel for like a first, let's say like a first or second first session, and you coming in for a tattoo, you want a tattoo, and you start disrespecting your artist in different ways. You might have your deposit down, you got the date down, but now you're being disrespectful, even with everything that we were just talking about, and say now you want to communicate with your artist, and it's been 2 days since you know haven't received an email back, and so you're emailing again, question mark, question mark, question mark. You don't get anything back. Then you get question mark, question mark, question mark, and then your artist actually replies and gives you a big reply saying, "Hey, sorry, I'm really busy with this," and then you still give them attitude after that. and you think that you're just entitled to your appointment so much that like you're still going to be in, you're still going to have your tattoo, and that you can say whatever you want, and do whatever you want. Like you're going to Burger King and getting a hamburger, no matter what you say to the people making it, you're still going to get your hamburger. It's not a fact of we don't want to give this tattoo to you anymore. It's a fact of, do we want to sit with you for 5 hours now? Or 5 hours, 50 hours? Do we want to sit with you for another 5 sessions and do a whole sleeve on someone who's going to act like that? Someone disrespects me one time and doesn't like, you don't apologize for it or something, like I might forgive you, but I'm not going to forget it. And I don't want to be around you anymore. Like, you know,
and
like,
that's where it's hard.
you're not
like,
entitled to any of these tattoos. You're not entitled for me to tattoo you at all. My boss is not going to be upset if I don't. Like, no one's going to be upset if we don't. You're going to be upset, but I don't care, because you've been disrespectful. And any other artist is going to agree. Don't be disrespectful to someone you're going to have to be face to face with for another 50 hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
Close up.
Well, here's the flip side to that: being respectful to your tattoo artist. Right now, Boris came to Nico's shop this past couple of weeks, and a friend of mine wanted to get tattooed by him. And you know, he said he sent an email on that, and I said, well, I told Jack, I said, well, I'll text Boris and see if I can get you in, because you know I'm really nice with Boris and that, and we talk every so often and that still. So I emailed Boris, told him what Jack wanted and everything, and that if he could get in, and he goes, well, my assistant was out and I had just seen that email, so tell him, yeah, I'll do it. And that, and again, if you're respectful to these people, you know, like collectors will get other collectors into artists. That's one of the plus sides of being a collector. We were able to wiggle our friends in to certain artists if we've had them and that. So, you know, that's a plus side. But,
one of my clients, her husband wants to get tattooed by Clean Rock One out in Vegas. And like he doesn't have any tattoos whatsoever, but like he's wanted him to work on him for years. And she's like, I've reached out a few times. I was like, okay, first of all, if somebody's partner reaches out about a tattoo, I kind of ignore that email. I just like, I most of the time I don't even reply. She was like, really? I was like, we want to talk to the person whose idea it is. So I was like, I was telling her,
I already know it's going to be it's going to be all difficult if that starts out like that.
I mean, she's a collector though. She's a collector and he has none. So that's why she was handling it. Like I've done some big pieces on her. Yeah. She knows what's up, but she didn't know how to get him into clean. So I was like, first of all, go ahead and name drop. Start off your email with, I was sitting getting worked on by Fawn at Derb Studio Red Tree in Columbus, Ohio, and they said I should try to reach out again.
Right.
Like
sometimes name dropping is good. In a tattoo, I feel like in a tattoo email, name dropping is good. I
here's
honestly
why.
think about that in a lot of ways, because even like if you tell me you've been tattooed by a couple other really good artists, I feel much more comfortable instantly. I'm like, oh, cool, Adam Francis tattoo, you're gonna be awesome. Like you know, I just kind of, you tend to just know if these people like tattooed you and have dealt with you, like there's something good about this, and it's gonna be okay.
Yep. It gives you like credibility as a collector if you're either friends with other heavy collectors. And the reason it gives you credibility is like as an artist, it's like, okay, this person already knows the etiquette and like, oh, this might be this guy's first tattoo, but like he knows what he's in for because his wife is covered in work and he really has been waiting patiently for me. Like that's different than the guy that's like, well, I want a tattoo next Tuesday and this guy's good. I found him in a magazine or on Instagram. I'm going to hit him up right now. Like sometimes that's how it comes off when we read messages where it's like, it's my first tattoo. This is what I want. This is how I want it. Da, da, da. But when your partner is a prolific collector or you're friends with prolific collectors, then it lets the artist or artist's manager reading that message know that you have patiently waited to collect a nice piece from a good artist. And it's just a different way of starting the conversation. It just like, it's not about like name dropping, like I know this person, or this person. It's I'm friends with these collectors. I know what to expect. And I really like your work and I'm willing to wait for your work.
Unless you're trying to look cool, you know, we can tell if you're just
well, and then the other thing is
at the same time, like you name drop, it's like, it's okay.
You can't fake name drop.
Cool then.
You can't fake name drop. You can't pretend because the tattoo community is so small. We'll message each other and be like, hey, how was so-and-so to work on? Or like, hey, is this guy really serious about a big piece?
Definitely. I can definitely tell you any artist here who has sent a client to me, I've said something to the artist about that client at some point. Always. Nice.
when I seriously started seeking out top artists and that, someone gave me a bit of advice early on, and I wish I could remember who it was, but they said you should list the artists you have on you
Hmm.
when you're talking to when you're sending your email to the artists you want worked on. He goes, for one, it shows that you're committed.
It shows that you
shows
can
you
afford
kn-
it.
Yeah, and two, three is that you know the process, and they're much more comfortable working with you if you have that.
Hmm.
Because
Exactly.
instead of a
Precisely.
brand new person,
When I reached out to Guy, so he made a post that somebody canceled last minute, and at the very top of that email, it was like, hey, it's fun. I've collected from, and I list everybody. And he replied with, I'm familiar with your collection. I was like, he's gonna work on me. He knows
Yeah.
my collection. But
That's so funny. That's awesome.
So, and again, getting back to the reviews and that, it's a lot of confusion. I mean, there's always going to be the one that's never happy.
mhm,
And there's a lot of those out there. No matter how you try to treat them or whatever, in the end, they're just never going to be
mhm.
happy. And you have to take them with a grain of salt. I mean, if you're looking at reviews, you have to look at the whole list of reviews. One or two, well, you're always going to have one or two bad reviews. I mean,
One of the points I wanted to make today was like when you're reading through a tattoo shop's reviews and you see like the only bad reviews come from people who were unable to get in, that's not really a bad review. You know what I mean?
No.
Like it might be a 1 or 2 star review, but that's not really a bad review. If you're a collector and you read between the lines, like, oh, this is an exclusive shop, so I should approach them properly. You know what I mean? Like, yes, the
Mhm.
star rating changes, but if you're the kind of person that actually reads reviews, that means like, oh, this person either wasn't patient or they were unable to get in for some reason. Like that's not an artist did a bad tattoo. That's not I got bad service. That's I was unable to even get in line for service because I didn't meet the criteria. Like it's kind of like you know how there are underhanded what do they call it, underhanded compliments, where you like say something snide as a
Right.
compliment but it's really a dig.
Yeah.
This is kind of
Yeah.
the opposite, where it was like meant to be a hindrance, but like
it's actually
you
a pretty
said-
good instruction manual for
Oh,
other people and gives them good.
I
good
didn't get in with
expectations.
my cover up. Okay.
Right. It's like, oh, I see this artist has absolutely immaculate work, but this person is mad about them for not getting back to him for 2 weeks. To me, that says, first off, I wouldn't take it seriously. But second off, then I'd just be like, okay, well, it might be 2 weeks or more before they get back to me. So now I've set a reasonable expectation that now they don't even have to explain to me. I already know and I've seen that.
Yep. But like as a collector, if you're reading reviews like that about a tattoo shop, that doesn't mean the shop's doing anything wrong. That means that they've got a shop full of busy artists and they're unable to
Right.
accommodate
A real
everybody.
bad comment would be if you were an asshole and they say something about your personality or something about the way you came off and personality wise. Those are bigger things to make a comment about. I'm not saying go
Mhm.
make bad reviews, but like that's something when you're reading through a bad review to actually look at, like, is this person going to be an asshole the whole entire time? Is this person like, if a person acted like they didn't give a shit the entire tattoo, that your client felt that so hardcore that they felt they had to make a comment, I feel like there might be something on the artist's end. There's a lot of things that could be coming from the artist's end, but perspective. Know what you're doing, know what
Mhm.
studio you've walked into, know who you're talking to, understand those things, that there's levels to this shit. like
I was saying earlier with Jordan, it before we went live, it would be like if you were to pick like your favorite band and you want them to play at a special event that you have coming up, like your favorite band, like your favorite famous band.
right, I hit Tool up. Yeah.
I hit Tool up
Yeah.
2 weeks ago and they didn't even answer my message. Like I was willing to pay them whatever they wanted to play at this event. But like,
I guess they don't want to make money.
Yeah, I
Fuck
mean,
you, Maynard.
I feel like that's the level of petty. Like when you reach out to, and I don't want to be like arrogant, but like when you reach out to rock star artists, you got to be patient because you got to keep in mind, like, other people are reaching out to those same artists, and like,
Mhm.
first you got to make your stuff stand out, but second, you've got to be patient,
I feel
because
like it's
like,
kind of disrespectful too when people like, I feel like some of the mindset kind of can come with that, like what do they think, they're too good to like message me back in 2 weeks? They think they're
no,
like
they're
too
too
big.
busy.
It's
They
like,
want it to
no, our
sleep.
lives are literally the result of being too busy, having to tattoo all the time, doing my job so well that I'm busy all the time, caring
Mhm.
so much about my clients that I hardly care about. I can make the time to
Boom.
care about myself.
Caring so much about our clients, we barely care about ourselves. I talk all the time about how much I see my massage therapist and things like that. That's because I'm pushing my body too far to give my clients what they want. That's why like artists are overly sensitive sometimes, because we give you so much. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I work until my shoulders are on fire sometimes. I work until like when I stand up, my hips crack and pop. Sometimes I'm
Sometimes-
afraid to stand up because
Sometimes
it's
my
gonna
back's
hurt.
so bad. Like it's while I'm working, I have so much work in front of me to do, but my back is so bad and I can hardly sit up straight that like I have no choice but to keep going because I know how much work I have in front of me. And sometimes it'll be like today was going to be the final session. We got a lot of expectation to maybe like
Mhm.
today's going to be it. Like I got to push through and do it. And I do it. And I don't bitch and I don't say anything because I don't want the person I'm working on to think that I'm just in terrible pain the entire time and that they're getting a half-ass session because I'm in pain the entire time. So I just tend to keep my mouth shut about those things. But like, yeah, all the time. Lots of
We really
I'm not
give a
saying I'm
lot to
dying
our
every
clients.
tattoo, but like sometimes I am in positions where I'm like, man, I cannot believe I have to do this for another 4 hours. I love this tattoo, but my
Well-
body cannot do this.
Well, it's like when Megan works on me, man. I know she's hurting, and I'm friends with Megan, so it's like you want to stop just because you know she's hurting, but
Mhm.
Megan won't do that. She'll keep
Because
going no matter.
It's the mindset. You've got a job to do. So you just stop thinking
Yeah.
about your own body to get the task at hand accomplished and accomplished well.
Because I've seen the wear and tear on her body and what it does for her, and that I mean, she sometimes at night she wakes up because her arm is in so much pain from working that day.
Mhm.
People don't understand what artists go through.
Yeah, I
I mean,
overdid it
yeah,
a
I mean,
few
your
days ago and I'm
body
still
is
feeling it. My shoulder
your
popped.
body
I
is
don't know if you heard when it popped real loud a few minutes ago, but like
oh
it's one of those things where like in the moment we're so focused on the task that we don't even notice that our body's on fire. We don't even notice that we're
I'm
working
literally, I feel
past
like
injury.
I'm like 50% a professional, just like fake it till you make it with my body. Like I like half of it is
No,
just
I'm
like,
good. I'm good. I
right,
can
right.
keep working.
Where I'm so good at working and doing my job the way I need to do it and mentally being there that I can completely ignore my body. Like, I can completely exist in my brain and in
Mhm.
my hands and on the skin. And like I literally, my
Mhm.
body disappears. I can feel so much pain and like still focus for another 4 hours when my back is doing something that I'm just like, it fucking sucks. But
But
then
like
at the
here's
same
the
time,
thing. This
that's
sounds like
always
we're
happening,
complaining.
and it can make it.
But this is how much we get sucked into what we're doing and how much it's not that we're complaining that this beats our body up. It's that we are so passionate and we give so much to
Exactly.
it that our body comes second. Like your
Exactly.
tattoo
Yeah.
and the
that's
client
why I don't
comes
bring it up to
first.
my clients. I don't want to complain. I don't want them to know like
Mhm.
those things and stuff. And it never makes me mad. It never makes me mad. Never makes me upset. It never makes me anything less than grateful to finish the project and to have a day of tattooing. But there's the the unfortunate result of that is my body hurting a lot.
Do you remember in Detroit several years ago when Liz Cook was working laying down?
yeah,
She
because
put
of
her
her
back out.
scoliosis.
Yeah, her
Yeah.
back was messed up. So she was actually laying on a massage
And,
table working on a
yeah.
sleeve or a leg piece, or I can't remember what she was working
Yeah.
on, but it was like, oh, I'm not the only one that beats myself up like that. Okay. If she can do it, I can do it.
I've always thought about jokingly setting up like a trapeze system or like a harness system where it's like I can Spider-Man or like Mission Impossible over my
Wait,
client.
exoskeleton. You need an exoskeleton, where it can
Right.
lock in place a certain
Mhm.
way. Yeah.
Right. And then it can kind of move you up or down side to side.
Robot
Either
legs.
that or you can strap your client in and they'll do that anywhere you need to go. I think I'd
Yeah.
rather have the exoskeleton.
You'd want to
Have
move
me,
around,
you know,
keep your
anywhere
client
I
stationary.
want in my room at the remote control. So it's just got like
Yeah.
a whole dome in my room and it's just moves around anywhere you want to go, lowers me down. Can be like face to face with my client like that. They'll be
Robot
super creeped out.
levitation.
You know,
Way better
it's
than robot legs.
Yeah. I'll have Doc.
You know, I mean, for a client, you know,
tentacles holding me up.
I mean, you know, we go through a lot too when we get tattooed. We get
Mhm.
put in weird positions.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're working on someone's hip, you know, you're on that other hip all fucking day. And you know, I'm getting older, so you know, that starts to really.
I try to pay attention to my clients. Once they start getting fidgety, sometimes I'll be like, no, 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 I'm okay. I'm okay. It's like, no, if one of us is fidgety, we're probably both due for a break.
I do feel as well. I'm going to be honest. I'm trying to break the, like, even more so, like the like client being too comfortable, or maybe not that, me caring too much, because like I will put myself in very bad positions for a long time because I know they're more comfortable like that. And if like for another, like, cool, well, if you can sit like that for a half an hour, I can do this and stuff. And I know it's, you know, or like I guess I'm convincing myself that I'm like, I can sit here for another half an hour and do this if you're like this right now, and I know it's comfortable for them. And like,
One of the things I
Oh
learned
no,
from-
Megan won't do that.
yeah,
She'll go, you know, I can't tattoo like that.
Yep.
You're
One of
gonna
the
have to
things
get in a position.
see me, it's like, yeah,
What-
it's always like a give and take, and I just realized like I gotta take more and more for them, and just like give myself the opportunity just to fucking be comfortable while they're in a terrible position.
Mhm. One of the things I learned from working with Nathan Marty is he would
Conversations
like
make my back hurt.
have somebody sitting up and then he'd flip them on their belly. And then 10 minutes later, he'd flip them back up and then he'd put them on their side. And it was like, he really like, he moves his client a lot. He changes positions a lot, but the client always seems so at rest. You know what I mean? Like he's the first person that I saw really work on like sleeves with their person laying like face down. So he could see like the whole back and back of the arm and elbow and see that whole, you know, where like normally I just have somebody lay back and lift their arm up and work like upside down, but he flips his client's face down and works on the back of the sleeve that way. And then the collector can like lay on their side or their hip or flat on their belly, but Nathan's got full view of the arm. So I really took note of that. And I've started moving my client from one position to the next more often. And like that keeps my body more limber because I'm changing the way that I'm standing or sitting. But also I feel like my clients can sit more comfortably longer because we're not just locked in that same exact position. Have you ever just sat so long that your hips lock up while you're getting tattooed, where it's like,
oh yeah,
my back hurts worse than the tattoo does, but we got to move, that my back hurts worse.
I can agree.
it was ink,
I definitely agree with that.
Inked out New Jersey when Randy tattooed me. He was doing a time lapse for his ink set. So,
Mhm.
you know, he wanted to tattoo long periods to do it, right? Well, towards the end of it, I ended up going, I need a break, and went up to my room and didn't come back for 45 minutes. It was like, I need a break. I mean,
You
a
were
serious
just-
break.
Yeah, you were
I
just
wasn't going to
hurting.
make it through it. I was hurting so much that there was no way I was going to get through it if I went right back.
You probably went up to your room and like sat and stretched forward and
Smoked a big fat one, yeah.
yeah, of course. Two or three big fat ones.
I still go back and
And,
forth and stuff. I feel like sometimes it starts to hurt my back and stuff even more when I have to constantly move people. So I got that give and take of like, sometimes I try to move people as little as I can. With a sleeve, there's so many positions I have to put people in, like to actually get to the areas I need with a
Mhm.
sleeve. And I always try to like come up with tricks to be like, okay, well, cool. Yes, I want to move you like that, but maybe if I could just get you to move over like that, I can get to that area without completely flipping you over to your stomach, because that's going to take me moving the chair around, and then I got to lower the chair, then I got to move all my stuff over to this side of the table, and I got to do this and this and this. By the time I get done doing that, it's like I put my back through like 3 times as much as if I don't know though, because those scales are funny, because I feel like I put my back through more doing that, because it does end up weighing on me when I got to keep doing that. But is that better or worse than sitting there again for the next hour in a bad position?
I think moving yourself and putting yourself in a different position ergonomically is going to be better for you in the long run. Moving your setup, putting it on the other side for an hour, that's going to be better for you than keeping it in the exact same spot, because you're using opposite range of motion. So you're going to be stretching the other way.
Well, the repetitive motion of
my impatience a little bit as well.
Well, the repetitive motion of an artist, you know, dip, move, go to the tattoo, turn around, dip again, you know, you're constantly going back and forth,
Mhm.
you know, but it's the same movement over and over. And let's face it, your body does not like moving the same way
Mhm.
constantly.
Yep.
It don't.
right? You're gonna end up with one strong side of your body, one weak side.
Yeah, I
You're gonna end
try
up
to
with one hip that's 2 inches higher than the other.
I try to stand a lot when I work, because if I can like use gravity and like the weight of my arms to help me stretch, I feel like that really, like if I can stand, I can move, I can stand in different positions, I can lean, I can move my inks and stuff in different places. But
I think as an artist, one of the biggest things I can do is to always make sure that I have elbow or palm rest, whether it's the way I'm stretching or something like that. But I don't know. I usually have some sort of elbow rest. Is like sitting upright like that with nothing for my arms. That's what destroys me after a while.
oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I was
like
actually
if I'm doing that like this, that's one thing too. But as soon as it comes up to being up here in like the distribution of like however my muscles are working from here to here, like that changes. Like, because I'll try to work on a shoulder or something, and like I'll be like, cool, well, I guess I'll work like this, and then I realize like, oh fuck, like working on this like a painting is not working for me right now. Like it's an easel or just straight up and down.
one of the things I like about my stool is it's got like the little footrest all the way around it. And I like prop my legs up on it, and then I like rest my elbows on my knees, and I've got this nice little tripod. It's horrible
Nice.
for my lower back, but like my shoulders love it.
I always use the
So the other way is
the
like
foot stand for the bed.
sit proper, arms out like this. My lower back loves it, but then my shoulders are going to be on fire for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
So I was just having this conversation with Em last night. She's a photographer also, and she had a photo shoot earlier in the day. And she's like, my shoulders are on fire. I was like, it's doing this all day. And she's like, what? I was like, just like me, we work with our arms out. So our shoulders and elbows are always locked into this weird position where our soft tissue here has to support the weight of our arms, and then add your 3-pound camera. She's like, you're right. I was like, for me, it's weird because like my machine isn't heavy, but I've got to push and stretch, and I got to use all that energy to manipulate the body that I'm working on. And that's what's exhausting for me. It's not actually the weight of the machine. Usually my left hand and my left shoulder are more of a wreck than my right side, because that's like stretching and manipulating and moving the weight of another person all day long. But my
So
arms are always out, so it's hard.
Yeah. I get super
Talking about
tense.
waiting,
My neck is super
about-
tense.
about weights and machines and that. Now, have you guys worked with coils at all?
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys are young
Oh, yeah.
enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
I worked
Oh,
with
yeah.
coils. My coil, I
But
had
now that
these.
now that you're rotary, there's a weight difference in them, right?
I think I would destroy my wrists. I think at this point they're so used to rotary. For me, they're so used to rotaries that going back if it was a heavy coil.
So I had a pretty good variety of machines. I had some pulse machines that if I was running big needles, I'd run them in my pulses. I had a Rick Severia, which was a little on the heavy side. Towards the end of working with coils, I had some Alan Dixon. He's an English machine builder, but they're like these little, they're actually like 6 wrap coils, but they punch like 8 or 10 wrapped. So they're like tiny little frames, like just like a little bulldog, like they're fancy looking, but they're just little like tiny bulldog frames, but they were like super light, super powerful. And then from there, I went to one of the Welker rotary machines, and they're set up like the weight and everything on them is similar to like how a coil machine is. So it was a pretty easy transition. But like I did start with like, heavier 10-ounce machines and worked my way down to like, I think they were like 5.4-ounce machines before I went to rotary. But it took a lot of work to find little lightweight machines that were powerful. Like most machines were very big, very heavy.
Well,
But
I
I was
think that
always-
just helped artists along the way though, too, is getting those heavy machines out of their hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
know?
Like I looked high and low for the lightest machines because I didn't want to have to worry about carpal tunnel or tennis elbow. But at the same time, I need a light machine that's got power, but I don't want it to feel rattly in my hand. So I want it light, but I don't want it rattly. So since I don't want it rattly and like to conduct that vibration into me, that eliminates aluminum. So I can't work with an aluminum machine. Garbage. Not that they're garbage for everybody, but for me, they didn't feel right.
Mhm.
Like I just hurt. If I use an aluminum machine, I would hurt at the end of the day. But nice, solid little like 1-piece brass machines, like cast 1-piece brass. It's like the brass itself would dampen the vibration of the machine. So I didn't get the soreness. I didn't get the achiness, but brass is heavy. So how do we find a little lightweight machine? I nerded out. I had to find exactly what I needed, but like when you find it, it's magic.
Yeah.
Now with rotaries, you don't have that magic that you've got to look for. You either like it or you don't. With hand-built machines, there's an element of like it just feels
I
right
wish
or
there
it
was a
doesn't.
more hand-built element to rotaries. There are some, you got like the Cubans and stuff like that, and sure other builders are doing stuff,
But
but
most of them are like milled. They're just
Yeah.
milled
Mhm.
aluminum.
But
or-
like I sure do, like I love my Cheyenne so much. I've used so many different machines, and I just love that thing to death.
You got the
And
Nova now?
it's so light. It's so light. So I can't even believe that I've ever used a cord.
what Cheyenne
before.
are you using? The Solnova?
Solnova, yeah, wireless one. It's having it be wireless, crazy. First off, I mean, we were already used to that fact, but that's just wild. I still think about it sometimes when I'm tattooing. I'm like, I can't even believe this.
I like it when I
literally-
work
like, I
on
literally
somebody new
do
that
a
hasn't been
circle
worked
around
on
them
in a
just
while.
just to do it, just to like spite God.
They'll be like, "Is that running? Is it? That's the machine." It's like, oh yeah, this is it.
I was expecting
There's no
something a lot
cord?
louder.
No cord.
Mhm.
It's funny that
Were you
sometimes like
expecting something different? Should I make this louder? Do you want
people
this to
don't
be louder?
realize that tattoos are going on in the building.
Yeah, right.
They'll be like, "It was so quiet." It's like, "Oh, we've got these little pens now." It's much.
Well, that was like when I was in Chicago, that was the one thing I was going through there. I was going, it's a lot quieter now.
Mhm.
Right.
I
I remember
so
how
much more quiet. Because when you go by someone using a rotary, a coil, it just grabs your attention because you hear that sound.
One of my
and then-
coworkers,
I
Mike
feel like we should just
Frazier,
play that sound on the speakers here.
he worked for me at my old studio, and when he and I would be working like at the same time, it was like the prettiest harmony between his machines and my machines. Like they worked harmonically with one another, and it didn't matter how we set up, but whatever he and I preferred, however we set our machines up, if we were working at the same time, it was harmonic. And usually it's not like that, but like
I wonder because I bet you could even like if you guys were both say like at a 7 voltage or something like that, I'm sure there's going to be like a similar
Mhm.
there might be a similar thing, and so I guess there is a way to even like of course it was probably intuitive, and
but like
that was all
both
intuitive,
of us
but
were
still,
real fussy about our machines. Like my machines, I didn't have to adjust them very often. Like they stayed the way I put them for quite a while. But like, oh no, I got to talking with my hands and spilled my coffee. Oh,
it's all right.
well, anyways, we'd just get to, oh, there's some paper towels right over there. We'd get to working, and it would, I don't even know how to describe it. Like he worked faster than me. His machines were a little bit bigger and louder than mine, but it was just like, that's something that we don't have anymore with. It's like one of the nostalgic things that I miss about working with coil machines is the way that it sounded like music. Like when everybody in the shop's machines are running great, it sounded like music. Or when you'd walk down a row of the convention and you'd hear that yeah, and then the next machine would be like yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd like have the buzz of the machine, but then on top of that, the rhythm of the person working with it. And then it's almost like a drum circle, but electric. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's something I really miss as well.
Well, that was the one thing when you walked in the tattoo shop, you heard those going, and it was like you knew you were at a shop.
Right.
Now it's music and people talking, and you hardly hear any machines. You hear a little buzzing, but nothing like.
Right. We
Back
got
in the
Ben. We got
day.
Ben here upstairs. He's usually got a coil going. I think that usually keeps it.
Marty still works with a coil
Marty too, yeah.
sometimes too.
Yep.
Derb lines with a coil. Cervena still lines with a coil. So every now and then we got the buzz going,
Right.
but not often are there more than one people working with a coil at the same time here.
Yep. Not
It's been 4
loyal
years
to-
since I've been hit by
not
a
loyal to
coil.
the coil. At all.
Those were the days.
Not loyal to the coil.
Hollywood
get it.
did my left foot with a coil. And I'll tell you what, I don't miss getting tattooed by him.
Ty worked on me with a coil. My chest. Adam was using a Neotat and Ty was using a FK irons. One of their coil machines.
Royal machines, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. There is a difference in feeling. I can't tell you which one I like more or less, but they do feel distinctly different.
Yeah. Well, the thing with rotaries, they're so smooth. With coils, you get that little hiccup every once in the blue moon,
Mhm.
and you feel that hiccup, but you don't feel it with a
You're
coil.
like, that
It's
didn't
always
sound
so
right
smooth.
or feel right.
No. Yeah.
Why was all that different for a half a second?
So, I mean, the smoothness of a rotary, you can say that. I get bruised just as easily if on a rotary versus a coil.
I know a guy used to coil on me last session.
Did he?
Last half of the session. Yeah, it was
Nice.
one that him and Rob built.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it was the experimental one.
Yeah.
That seemed to work. I don't know. He tattooed me with it. That's all I know.
Jordan's like, I
can't-
was there.
I can't say if it went well
Yeah.
or not. I don't remember. It was all torture, and it was on my back. And if you have your back tattooed, you know that you will never see it ever or know whatever happened during the process.
I mean, I can see like my shoulders.
I can't see my shoulders. I need to get like a mirror.
No.
I don't have one of those mirror systems where you can see from the other mirror and see in the mirror. So it's my back.
Hmm.
So I literally
I got a
never see it.
full length mirror.
I think I seen my tattoo on my back like I don't know, maybe in the summer 6 months ago. I had a picture taken. I was on a boat and I seen my tattoo. I think that
Okay.
was the last time I've looked at my back.
All right.
Which
All
is
that
cool.
work
I've
and
been
you
looking-
can't even enjoy
Which
it.
is crazy. That's such a wild
All that work for somebody
I love
else.
it though, because when I do see it, it's so fresh and I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe that's on me. And like, there's no getting used to it. Like my arm, I'm so used to it. Rest of my body.
I can't see my neck unless I position mirrors to be able to see how my neck looks in that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, kind of the same
I can
thing.
see like the front curl of one of my head tattoos, but I can't see. Like I see like a curl and a hook. Other than that, I can only see it in pictures and the mirror.
That's what I love about tattoos. So, I mean, some of them are for like, you love to show them off and you just love the fact that you look good or different, but it's crazy to invest so much in something that, I don't know. You're not getting that kind of satisfaction from it. It's not about like, oh, I'm gonna see this I'm not gonna see this every day and be super happy about it. I might never think about it for 6 months, but I know it's gonna be there and I know it's gonna step everything up a notch.
Do you ever catch a glimpse of your back piece and you're like, oh, I am tattooed all over the place?
I always forget because like when I'm at home and stuff, I don't ever wear a shirt. I'm just walking around like that. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, Emily, you really just like look at me with my back tattooed like that? Because that's not how I see myself.
No, I had that moment, Don, when I was looking at my neck going, wow, I am really tattooed. And I got my hands done, I mean, I'm almost, I'm about 95% covered. And here I am finally get my neck done. I go, wow, I am really tattooed.
Yeah.
I feel like once I get my arms done, I feel like I will feel like I look more tattooed. My arms are totally bare still. Well, I guess I got one little guy and then my hand.
I always forget that your arms are not tattooed.
Yeah. Jordan was just giving me a hard time today because I don't have my arms tattooed yet. I was like, I got ideas. I got to patiently wait and to go to Russia.
That might not be happening anytime soon.
Definitely, but I'm still going to wait. You know
Hold
how
out.
obsessed I am with Samarine and
Hold out.
Nika's work.
Sometimes it's nice
Oh,
just
it's
to know, like,
amazing
hey, I'm
work.
not going to spend $20,000 on tattoos this year as well. Sometimes. So I understand that feeling too.
I don't know. I really, I feel like it's definitely going to happen. I have to wait till the world's in a little bit different of a place with travel and things like that. But like, we'll get there, and the opportunity will present itself. And like, maybe if not Nika, maybe like Ilya Fam. He's pretty rad too. Did some crazy, colorful stuff.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be.
I'm at the point right now trying to figure out how I'm gonna finish this up. I mean, if Randy comes over, one of my pits is gone because I'm gonna have him do another green person on it in that area. And then the other one, I don't know, it'll probably be Megan. I want that hummingbird and that at the pot, at the pot, feeding at the pot, bud. But
Nice.
that's about the only spot that I think that big enough that she could put it, and I don't got much left. a little bit on my right here, and that's it.
Yeah,
Finish my
you
knee
probably
up.
have just like a few little filler gaps here and there, like cheekies
Yeah, and the
and things
back
like
of,
that, right?
well, on the back of my Achilles heel, back there, I got a spot. It's not very big. It's about that big,
Mhm.
but that has to be filled if I'm gonna, you got Chuck to sit there and go, well, if he's seen it, he goes, see, you got to fill that in.
Well, I mean, I want my whole bodysuit to be cohesive. I mean, there's going to be from the knee down. I'm sure there's going to be little skin gaps in that area. But other than that, like I want everything to just, and so far it is. So far, everything just flows seamlessly one into the next. So,
The hit went right in my nose.
are you okay?
Oh, you ever do that little dab and makes all your nose hairs fucking
You
sizzle?
look like you're crying.
It's just
He's emotional. Jordan's
so
having an
sad.
emotional day today. This is what happens when we talk about Google reviews. Jordan, it makes Jordan cry.
Don't write bad reviews. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Triggered.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Nope, just a little dab in the nose.
Yeah. I don't know. We got conventions coming up here.
I can't
Hell
wait.
City's coming real soon.
Motor City.
Well,
we
Motor
got-
City's first.
We got one more Thursday and then we got the Thursday before. I was talking to Todd about maybe finding somewhere cool and setting up and doing a like somewhere overlooking the cities. I like your idea of the food court area at the GM building. I like that. And
Unless
it's
you're in
there
your
the GM
room and
building.
you got a room that you can look at the city.
It's hit or miss whether
there's-
it's a good view or not. I mean,
That's
most of the
just
rooms
it,
have
and-
views, but
But I'm saying because the convention where it's at, there's no windows there, so you can't look out into Detroit.
Mhm.
If you go out front in the rent center, we'd be out in the friggin' cold, or there's really no area there that would give you a good view of the
I
city.
could park on the top floor of the parking garage, the one that's like closest to the tunnel. Park on
Yep.
top of that, and then we could set up in my van and we can get super baked together and do our pre Detroit Motor
Yeah,
City
right.
show.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna. Well, I mean, if you guys need help, I'll definitely be helping, but I'll definitely be there the entire weekend. At least
You
just,
are
like,
coming up?
hanging out and stuff.
Good,
for sure.
good. I
So if I don't come like in the van with you guys, I'll end up coming there and just getting a pass and being there.
yeah. I kind of assumed you were going, but I didn't ask.
Mhm.
You're not
Yeah,
working at
I
the
was-
are you?
No, not unless you guys need an extra person.
Hanging out.
I'll gladly come, but I didn't figure you guys all set it up. This year's just been kind of last minute for figuring out what I want to do for conventions and stuff. I just finally talked to Dirk about the Hell City stuff and
Yeah.
exactly what's going on with that. And so I'm trying to figure out now what the rest of the year is going to look like. So there's lots of travel plans this year.
Yeah.
And lots of figuring out exactly what's going to be the tattoo related things, what I need to plan for that are the other things and obligations outside of that.
I think it's gonna feel good getting
So
on
I've
the
been
road
putting it
again.
off.
We've taken a few trips, but it's gonna feel good to right after Detroit, 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, we'll be down in Tampa.
Oh, you're going to Ink by the Bay?
Yeah, is that the new one?
That's
I
the
think
name
this
of
is
it,
the first
yeah.
year. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a nightmare dealing with the health department. It's the toughest convention I've ever worked with to try to get things going.
Why?
I don't know. Derb had passionate words with the lady that oversees everything from the health department about our forms and stuff. We had to submit everything 2 times, once by mail and once by email. And it's just been one hoop after another on top of the 3-hour Florida certification to tattoo there.
Oh, you had
Because
to
their
do a-
blood
you had to do a
forms were
3-hour?
different. Yeah, well, it depended on which one you went, but they were all 2 to 3 hour
Oh,
courses.
okay. Yeah, I remember you saying all this. That's what I
Which is fine.
didn't
It's
know you
it's
had to do all that.
fine. If that's a hoop that we've got to go through to work in a state, that's fine. But the back and forth with the health department has been a nightmare, and I haven't even been the one
that's a
dealing with
common
it.
problem with a lot of conventions, though.
This has been the most difficult. This has been
Vegas
by
was
far the
bad,
most
though.
difficult.
I remember when Vegas the last one that Mario did, the biggest show on the earth, you know, biggest tattoo show on earth, right? He did
Mhm.
that one, and that last one, I remember a lot of artists bitching about the health department. You know, it is what it is, you know. I mean, Detroit has its with it sometimes with their health
Well,
department.
yeah, this is one of the things where like it's nice having worked with like Health City and things like that, because Derb's team does so much of the legwork for you that like you have a packet to fill out, and then everything just goes right where it needs to go. Like,
Mhm.
but to be fair, this is the first time this event has gone on, so maybe I mean, I think there's another tattoo event in Tampa
Yeah,
the other end of the
Illinois
year.
does one.
So yeah, I thought so. So I can't understand why I don't know. I can't understand why it's been such a rigmarole. Derb said like the whole time he's been tattooing, this has been the most difficult convention to get his information and paperwork and stuff to, which is like, okay, well, I mean,
So you guys are gonna go there, you're gonna set up, and half of the things that they're gonna have a problem with you using paper towel. They're gonna have a problem with the way we wrap up a tattoo. Saniderm's not gonna be okay. All the ADWs are not gonna be okay. Paper towel's not gonna be okay. I feel like that's the kind of stuff they're gonna go there. They're gonna be so particular because of all these hoops you're going through. I had the same thing. I had other couple conventions that were like that, but North Carolina was the worst. I went to Wilmington. There was like a new one called Ink and Arms. Do you remember that?
I don't know.
So it was
I
a
remember
gun
that
show.
one.
It was gun show and tattoo
tattoo
convention.
show.
Oh,
And I
geez.
think Troy put it on. I think it was just some other little offshoot. It might have been with someone else or something. But it just seemed like the whole entire Troy
Someone
crew.
else.
The entire Troy crew was
Mhm.
there. And so oh no, I guess I feel that way because Carl was doing the
Just the MC.
yeah, right. And so used to him just being there for all the Troy things. I love Carl. But
Yeah, we all do.
what was I about to say about where was it? Oh yeah, no, yeah, we had to jump through all sorts of hoops. So getting certified, I had to do all new bloodborns things. I had to be a specific like certification. It had to be like specific certification for it. It had to be we had to do the state licensing, like that was normal and stuff. But then going there, we had to use gauze for paper towels. They wanted like all sorts of weird shit. You couldn't wrap things up in Saniderm. You couldn't wrap things up with any sort of wrap, and no one sold at that time no one there had any wrap for anyone to use. Everyone had Saniderm and stuff, and they're like, you
Mhm.
can't use Saniderm. And so everyone's going to like Rite Aid and things,
Just
trying
getting packets
to
of
get like a
sterile bandages.
right, like gauze, just to say there's gauze and things like that, just because they're in a sterile package and they don't know any better. You know what I mean? Like they think that that's okay when like, fuck no, I'm not going to wrap your tattoo in gauze after it's done.
Now that you mention this, I'm gonna go ahead
no,
and
that-
place an order
ooh.
today for
Ew,
those
you're going
little
to attach
the
to
little
it. It'll grow to into you.
the little paper towels. So I on Amazon I found these they're compressed like towels basically, but they're like cotton. I found some cotton ones and I found some bamboo ones, but they're like wrapped up in these little plastics. I handed them to Jordan.
Cool.
He's like, "Oh, mints, thanks."
Right.
But I'll make sure I take a handful of those. I've actually enjoyed working with them.
Yeah, I like them too. Yeah, they've been absolutely great. I think just sometimes I like to do a lot of dry wiping, so that's the only time that I don't like them. But if I can supplement my dry wiping with some paper towel and then use those for all the other stuff,
Fuck you.
well, entire stencil process, you're getting dry wiped.
You really dry wipe the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
You don't like just take it and like wring it all out so it's nice and soft? You should try it. Dip your paper towel in Bactine, wring it out so it's almost dry, and then dab with that. That way it's at least soft against the skin, but it's not enough moisture to pull the stencil up.
Yeah, I feel like I use enough Vaseline and stuff that it's.
Have you been dry wiped lately, Jordan?
Not lately, but I've definitely
Okay.
been dry wiped. I've definitely been dry wiped.
I'm just saying that tattoo karma.
I'm just
The
saying,
nicer
man,
you are.
know?
If I
The
feel
nicer
if I
you
feel
are.
fr- if I feel too much friction, I change the way I'm working.
Okay.
I'll say that.
I'm just saying, when's the last time you were dry wiped?
No kidding, man. Wow.
I know Adam, or no, maybe not the last sessions. Any stencil session that I've ever had was dry wiped for sure. Every tattoo I've ever done. You know, sometimes I'll use a little bit of water, but then again, you know, if I'm mixing water and Vaseline the entire time, like eventually, and ink, eventually that stencil's coming up and stuff. And I work in such big stencils that cannot get wiped away. Like I cannot have a couple little pieces of shapes get wiped away. So I can intuitively put them back in there, but also I need to be like but also like I'm never dry wiping if I'm like magging. Like if I got a
You already admitted
sort
to
of
dry
maggot-
wiping, Jordan. You
Hey,
can't
listen.
take it back now.
listen,
Jordan, dry
Listen.
wiper Ruckus.
listen.
You
to
want to
me.
get dry wiped all day?
You getting dry
Well, see-
wiped. If you're getting tattooed by me and you're getting stenciled, you getting dry wiped. I don't give a shit how you feel about it.
The only time that the last time I got dry wiped was Megan when she was doing my cover up because she did it all by hand with marker and that, and she goes, "Can't lose any of this, Todd." So
feel like
you're getting this.
If someone's complaining about me doing an outline, if I'm doing an outline and you're complaining about the dry wiping, though, it's like, I get it if I was shading and you got a big swath of open skin, but like I do dot work and lines and like delicate lines.
Well,
and stuff,
I'm talking
know?
like you're getting colored in and that, and they
I would
you know,
never
they
dry
dry
wipe you
wipe.
like that. Ever.
Oh, God, no.
ever,
Oh,
ever,
my
ever. Oh
God.
God. You know how much Bactine I use? I go through a bottle of Bactine per tattoo.
You know who
Mhm.
does that?
Dry wiper.
Boris. Boris is a dry wiper.
On. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
And so is Rember, but he dabs at your tattoo.
Just
He
like the tiny
pushes
little.
down, and he
Mhm.
pushes down on it, and it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing, man?
So
That
I
don't
do
feel
that
good.
sometimes
gonna
when
be
somebody's.
honest, someone who works on my back, I feel like kind of does that a little bit.
So
But
here's
then I'll get the Bactine and stuff. But
okay.
he's
let
also
me-
really good about working in small areas. He never wipes swaths. He's like a tiny area right there where it's getting wiped. And I'm
Okay,
like,
so
that
the
is kinda
pushing-
nice. I don't work that way.
the pushing, there is kind of a trick with that. So if your artist is working with Bactine and you notice that they like push and dab each time they work a little area, I do it to actually like push the Bactine into the skin. You know what I mean? Like that corner of the paper towel is saturated. So as I push, I'm actually like pushing it into the freshly tattooed area with a little bit of like to like push it in instead of just wipe it on top. And then when I come back in just a moment later, it's less harsh.
Yeah.
So like if me pushing is more uncomfortable than me coming back in and tattooing half a second later, I'll take it.
Fair.
So there is a reason sometimes it seems like there's more pressure than necessary, but it's like I'm actually pushing that Bactine into the freshly opened tattoo just so it's
Yeah.
like effective right
Yeah,
now.
I kind of do the same thing. Definitely. I'm always a little bit rough when I put the Bactine in because I kind of want to rub it in a little bit. I want to get a little extra, like as I'm wiping and stuff, I kind of do that extra, but I do that. It's been stuck as a habit because that's what Adam taught me. Adam, like he literally, he told me, he's like, this is why I'm doing this. It helps a lot. He's like, when I figured this out, like people are going numb way quicker.
Yep.
And so like, he'd have,
Actually pushing it into
but
the
you know what I
skin.
remember when he was doing that? He'd have like the corner dipped in the Bactine. So just like
And
just a little bit. And so he'd put it on there and then he'd dry the shit out of me. And then he'd dab it on there a little bit. And then just open the skin up.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, all right. It's okay. One of the greatest tattoo artists in the world, Adam France. But
We haven't really talked about Adam a
the
lot
only
lately.
dry wiper in here.
You're
I'm
the
just
dry
kidding.
wiper.
I can't let it go.
You're the dry. I'm gonna give you a shirt made. It's gonna be
Dry
your,
wipes.
that's gonna be
Dry wipes for life.
dry wipes, Ruckus.
Yeah, dry wipes, Ruckus. Good old Jordy Dry Wipe.
It's the worst tattoo nickname I've ever heard.
Jordy Dry Wipe.
Oh man.
That's good. I'm okay with it. I'm actually pretty proud of that. I don't mind because I know how I wipe. It's half dry wipe, half wet wipe. You get half and half.
Oh, it is. It is.
I'm sure if you watch the way I work, though, I'm not trying to keep it going, that you'd be like, okay, that's reasonable the way you do that. Because if I did use water the entire time and I'm having to wipe every 2 seconds, for an entire like sleeve of Geo, then after 100 wipes, I'm gonna end up wiping other stuff off.
Yeah.
And also, I like to be really free with the rest of the stencil. So I like the other stuff to, if I'm wiping dry, then nothing's gonna come off at all. So the entire time I can like wipe way higher,
Mhm.
and not just have to worry about this little spot. I can do full.
Mhm.
I'm attentive to people's pain, though. Don't worry, I'll dry wipe you.
Do you ever
Not callously.
do you ever take like a Dettol or one of like the stencil solutions and mist it over top of your tattoo?
What is it called?
Like any of
Dettol?
Dettol is like the old school way to do it, but you can like mist your stencil or mist your marker drawing and it helps kind of lock it into the
I've
skin a little
heard
better.
of
Have I
people, I've heard of people doing that, and I've tried to do it and I've failed, and so I never kept doing it. But I have seen people do that, and I have seen people do that with like green soap, and they'll spray green soap and have it like stick to the tattoo better and stuff.
Stencil stuff makes a spray solution. There are other companies that do, but I should show you this Dettol trick.
Does it help stuff stick on there? Because
yeah.
I use stencil stuff, stencil spray. I do like that.
You
but
like it, or
I get to a point of like, I do want that stencil to stay, but I don't want it to stay. I don't want it to still like, you know, because I'll like make big areas and like of like, so like it'll be a big shape, and that shape will be completely filled in when I put it on there. Will be completely filled when I put it on there. And so then, you know, all of those dark purple shapes, and then I'm trying to fill it in black, and all I see is purple. And I'm like, God, you know, it's hard to tell if this is really black right now, or if it's that purple showing up underneath, and usually just goes away after a few wipes and I'm working for a second. If I use the stencil spray, sometimes that just wants to stay like crazy. And I still see it like after the tattoo's done. And so I don't know. I don't use it as much because I don't need it to be on there like complete, like just fucking forever. I just want it on there more than I do not want it to come off. So I still throughout the entire tattoo process want it to stay. But there's a give and take that I found my medium with.
Isn't it awful when like you get to the finishing part of your tattoo and it's like, oh, this stencil is still totally here. My pictures are gonna look crazy. I can't use
stencil stuff 100%. I cannot use it. I've used it a lot. I've used it a ton. I used it for years, a long time ago, before I was doing like geometric things and stuff. And like I was always having an issue with stencils wiping away. And then I switched over to Electrum, the green stuff. I really like that they stay like a motherfucker, almost too much. You know, if I use stencil stuff on top of that, they just do not go away.
My opinion is exactly the opposite.
Really?
I'm using Electrum right now, but it's really like once I get through the bottle, I'll either go back to stencil stuff or sorry, mom.
Because what I don't like about them is what I don't like about the Electrum for me is it stays really well, but it's so goopy that you really got to know the right amount to put on there, otherwise it wants to bleed out. And doing a lot of geometry close together, a lot of lines bleed, so I got to make sure that nothing's any thicker than another area when I put it on and stuff. So that's something I have more than stencil stuff, but I really like, I'm definitely not trying to just Electrum, but it's what I use. Their gold standard stuff or whatever, the more that's more lotiony, that one's way even better. That's my favorite because it works like stencil stuff, but it also stays on better like Electrum. But it's funny that you say that you don't like this, you don't like the Electrum.
My opinion's just the opposite,
because like stencil stuff, it is a significant, I will lose my stencil. I'll lose my stencil completely with stencil stuff every time. And I am definitely alcohol, everything, you know, before I'm definitely I'm a skin prepper.
So one thing about the Electrum, and most of you, we both work really large, but Jordan lays really large stencils where I do a lot of large freehand drawing with little pieces stenciled within it. So that's a difference in the way that we work. But I noticed that the Electrum stays tackier just a little bit longer. Like once you get that thin tacky layer, like once you've rubbed it in and like primed it and you come back with the next layer and you let it get tacky, it stays tacky a little longer than the stencil stuff does. So that could be the variable for you because your stencils are so much larger that you've got a shorter window of time to get that good contact to the skin. And
yeah, that can definitely be an issue.
Yeah,
that can definitely be an issue for sure.
But like this is one of those reasons where like
put too much on there and then end up getting bleeding lines. And so trying to find that medium between that because of that as well.
This is where it's nice like to try different brands of similar products because there might be little subtle differences where it's not one is better than the other, but one is better for this kind of tattooing than the other. Like I think all tattooers should be very open-minded to try multiple brands and multiple versions of the same product just so you can find what works best. Like what we're just talking about, we're comparing two different products and our opinions are exactly the opposite, but look at the difference in our stencils.
I love that on things, you know, when someone has especially like it's something that we both do every single day when we got a different opinion about it like that. Like that's so
well,
I've had
all kinds of stencil stuff put on me. Electrum, Black Acre, what was the first stencil stuff? You know,
hey, that worked.
You know, but
a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of speed stick.
For my point of view, they all stuck. So, you know, I don't know. You know, a lot of people, you guys have a lot of problems with it, but you know, the one that I know that sticks a lot is Black Anchor.
That one does. That one sticks great. Mike Chambers' Sorry Mom is fantastic and it smells really good. But
I
the
love
Black
it.
Anchor is
I
great.
do
Sorry
love
Mom's
when my stuff
great.
smells good. I sure do.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, I'm not going to say, and I mean, you can do it the old fashioned way. Like you can get a bottle of Dettol that will last you for years and you can mist the skin with Dettol, lay your stencil and call it a day. Like some of these stencil solutions get really expensive, but they don't have to be.
Yeah, I honestly, I go through a bottle of Electrum takes me about a year to get through a bottle of Electrum at least.
I'm kind of wasteful with my stencil stuff. Like if I'm using stencils, usually I just put a big glob on the corner of my setup
That's
so
fair.
I can just reach for it whenever I need it.
That's
So
fair.
I
That's
usually
that's
use
wild, though,
about
too,
twice what I
because
need.
feel like how much stenciling I do, maybe compared to your, I don't know, maybe you do a lot of stuff. You could do a lot of stenciling, I guess.
Well, like
but
I said, it's different because like I do large freehand pieces with little stencil details
I
where
always
you're
think it's crazy
stenciling.
how long it takes me to get through a bottle of Electrum. I think stencil stuff I used to go through a lot quicker. I think just because of viscosity of it or
Mhm.
something.
Well, like I was
Oh,
saying,
boy.
I feel like it doesn't
Cool.
stay as tacky on the skin as long. So you probably had to use more of it to get the, but that's the magic. Like each one's
Yeah.
maybe better for a different type of tattoo or a different
Right.
different stencil applications.
Mhm.
Like any given time, I probably have 3 or 4 bottles in my cabinet. I think right now I'm
Right.
down to, I've always got Dettol
And
and
I
I think I
always-
might be down to Electrum, but I usually have 3 or 4 to choose from.
Yeah, and they all got their ups and downs. Like, if you used them a lot, you'll start to figure them out. And if you
Mhm.
like what you like, is even with Electrum,
Yeah.
fucking lines. Everything expands with Electrum for me, except for the gold standard stuff. If I
Mhm.
use the green stuff, all the lines expand unless I'm just like a perfect amount. You know what I mean? And that's just impossible to do because I work like if I'm trying to lay like a whole thing down on an arm or just this huge thing goes around the shoulder and down the arm.
Mhm.
I'm like, there's going to be areas that are a little bit uneven and I do my best to keep it that way. But, then I'll get, say everything really big, then it gets really tight in the center. And then if everything can look really good, but if, in the center, it's not perfect, all those lines bleed out, everything bleeds together. And yeah, I get that with the green stuff. I get that with green stuff. So you're not the best Electrum, but you're great. great.
While
Maybe
we're
you're the
on this
best.
talk, so I posted I reposted Cervena's video a few days ago of her peeling her tattoo shield off. Oh man, some people were so mad about it. It's like I just posted it because it was a funny video of her like ripping it off all in one sheet with the dog running around. Like I didn't
I
even
said
like
it wasn't the. I even said it. I go, that's not the way to show correctly how to pull that off.
Oh, well, definitely. And I talk about how to properly remove it all the time on here, but like the conversation that happened underneath it, like I posted it, went to work and didn't look at it for like 6 or 7 hours. And it was like none of this is productive. This is just like, and like they tagged Tattoo Armor, and it's like scroll back a little further. I've got an actual like real post about Tattoo Armor. Like,
You were doing that.
can't you just laugh? Can't you just laugh and look at the cute dog?
That's so
But
stupid.
anyways, what I was going to ask is, what are your opinions on different aftercare products? Like, have you used the Tattoo Shield yet? Do you know what I'm talking about?
You mean the tattoo armor? The one with the tag?
Yeah, the Tattoo Armor. Tattoo
No, I
Shield is like
haven't.
Sanoderm.
I know, Ed. I haven't used it yet. Megan, we were talking about it with my neck, but
My clients are loving it.
I know a lot of people are. I need to try it. I just didn't have the spot. I didn't think
Yeah.
the neck was going to be a good spot to use that.
Yeah, I have started actually giving my clients the option because like some people love Sanoderm, some people hate it. We've talked about it a lot. Like I love it for some applications, I hate it for others, but I've started giving my clients the option, like if it's the kind of tattoo where either or would be better. And it's pretty cool to see how many people are like, the adhesive wrap is good because of this, it's bad because of this, or whatever, and then they can choose whether they want to go with that or whether they want to go with the Tattoo Armor. But everybody's really loving the Tattoo Armor, and like when I wrap somebody up with it, like I wrap up the whole limb and then I go back around it with like the Coflex tape, so you're almost like in a mobile cast, so they can sleep, it stays in place, and they wake up the next day, it's like it wicks all the sliminess away, so your tattoo feels clean before you even wash it. So
Don't be surprised when you
Yeah.
come to me and before you leave, I just put saran wrap on you.
Well,
let you
some
go.
tattoos, that's the only way, like a back piece, and like unless you're traveling, like just throw the saran wrap on it and lay down
Yeah.
and don't move.
You got a whole sleeve, we've worked on your entire arm. Like, I'm probably gonna do that because putting 10 tattoo armors on you and doing all that is just, it's just kind of a lot.
It takes 2 to do a whole sleeve, 2 of
Two?
the big ones.
2 of
Yeah.
those big ones.
And they're inexpensive. They're way less expensive than the Sanoderm products are. It's like $8 and $10 a pack. I think it's $8 a pack for the medium ones, which are like yay big. And then the large ones are even bigger. So it's approximately $1 a bandage. And then the tattoo tape, the co-band, that's $1 a roll. So I feel like $3 worth of tattoo armor and tape versus $10 or $12 worth of Sanoderm or tattoo shield. Like, it ends up being cheaper. And I feel better about like giving people extra bandages to rebandage it the next day. Like, they can do it themselves.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
Where with Sanoderm, I'm always nervous that they're gonna.
I hate it. I hate giving people Sanoderm.
I'm always nervous that like they're gonna wrap it while it's not clean enough.
I
or-
barely
I have
know how to
my
use it
own
on
supply
myself.
of it.
Well,
I have my own
you're
supply. Say,
you know what to do.
Yeah.
You've been through it. But a lot of collectors, if it's their first time with Sanoderm, then there are pros and cons with it. It's nice to set it and forget it, but like I tried it on one of my clients recently. We usually do really large projects on him, but we just worked on one side of his lower leg. So I was like, let's go ahead and try this and see if you like it or see if you don't. And I put it on and he's like, well, what if I don't like it? I was like, if you don't like it, you can just take it off and clean it and go back to how you've healed every other of your tattoos. I was like, but if it doesn't bother you, this might, because he's a dog groomer, so it might make life easier at work to not even have to worry about his tattoo. So like it might be uncomfortable and squishy and gross for the first couple of days, but like if you like it, we can continue to do it. If you don't like it, well, we know, and I won't use this bandage on you again. Where I haven't gotten any negative feedback at all about the tattoo armor.
oh yeah, when Randy did it, he was quite adamant that I kept it on. And he was the first one I ever used it with.
Mhm.
And so I listened to him in that. I had a bad heel on my sleeve, and that was before Randy, and that was still in my mind. So I listened to him, and I healed so perfect that I haven't stopped using it. My body will attack itself, and I get bad scabs if I don't use it.
Mhm.
And scabs will draw your ink out. So
Yeah.
for me, it's the only way to heal.
Yep.
For me
smoother.
personally, because of my
Yeah.
body, yes.
It's one of those, I say all the time, there are so many variables, whether it's the appropriate bandage or not. When it's appropriate, it's great and it makes life so easy. But at the same
Mhm.
time, I've had tattoos that I loved healing with it. And then I've also had tattoos that were so uncomfortable that I couldn't wait to get the Sanoderm off. So it's one of those just, if your artist
Yeah.
tells, if your artist gives you different healing instructions every time you see them, that's all right. It's okay.
I didn't like it on my neck. It pulled, gave me headaches.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's a lot of spots the back of my ditch that hurt.
Your
where
knee
I went
ditch.
there. Yeah.
Honestly, one of the rougher heals I've ever had was the back of my knee ditch, and I was traveling, and we probably should have Sanodermed and didn't. The other back of my knee was totally fine, and we Sanodermed it.
Mhm. Well, you're moving it,
Mhm.
and the ditch is just sucky to heal anyways. It just really is. It cracks,
Mhm.
it's just not a fun heal.
What's the easiest heal you've had, Todd? Your cheekies?
Those were pretty easy. My hands actually were easy.
Your hands were an easy heal?
Yeah.
All right. Good. My hand was like a boxing mitt.
I
But
think my back is probably my easiest heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing scabbed, nothing bad. Only took a couple days. The only problem was trigger bites. The back was covered in jigger bites.
My legs were
Okay.
easy too, I guess. My legs are pretty easy besides the ditches. That, those suck anyways. But other than that, yeah. I mean, healing the ribs, that sucked. Especially if you're wearing Sanoderm.
Yeah. I remember I got my ribs worked on in the summer too. So it was like just sweaty, sweaty and
Yep.
gooey.
Yeah.
Nothing like sweating on a fresh tattoo. It's
Right,
like
I hate that feeling.
it's a weird sting that you
Tingly.
can't really.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You just notice it doesn't feel right. You just feel all your pores opening up on sensitive skin. I hate that feeling.
Nope. Nope.
Or the
Nope.
feeling
Yeah.
of it being cold.
Oh,
Gotta
goosebumps.
be
That's
just
the
right.
other worst. It's a funny
Right.
thing when you get a large
That's
when you
the
get a
other
large
worst.
tattoo on your body, you realize how heat sensitive you are. Like I would like it to be 74 degrees, please. Only 74. No higher, no lower. I don't want to perspire. I don't want a goosebump. 74 degrees. For me, that's 76 maybe would be better.
That's
But
usually what my heater's set to at my house, 74 to 76.
Well, that's just
Is that
it.
why your furnace is out, Fawn?
I don't know right now. Warm.
I've noticed since I got tattoos, like I cook a lot. So anytime my hands are by heat, they hurt even worse. Because I had high tolerance to heat because I
Mhm.
cooked and but try flipping a tortilla now, man, and it's like it hurts.
Really?
Yes.
Oh man.
I don't know if I've noticed that, but your hands are tattooed all the way down to your fingers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yours is a lot more tattooed than mine is.
So
There's still a lot
I
of skin.
noticed that. Yeah, quite a bit.
It's so bright and overexposed under these lights. It's funny.
Very overexposed.
Bam. Sorry,
Reflective forehead see.
started playing with the camera.
So we got one more show before Motor City, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? We were talking about Ed. I should hit him up this week and see if he's available to join us next week.
Yeah.
He was way early when we had him on, but I really enjoyed having him as a guest. He's got a fantastic collection. We had him on, and then we had Corey Triola, and he's also got a fantastic black and gray collection. I should just hit them both up again.
There's other ones we need to hit up too. We need to
Mhm.
hit up Tommy Angel.
Yeah, when you mentioned that, he and I have followed each other for a really long time too. I don't know why it didn't occur to me to shoot him a message before now.
Yeah, I actually before we came on, I tried to see if he was available today, but
Chuck
he's
got his other
closing on
butt
some-
cheek tattooed, didn't he?
both of them now. They're all both colored in.
Yep.
Hmm.
Chuck's hitting it hard, man. I'm excited for him though.
Yeah, he needs to do it. He's going to do his neck too. The next session, he said.
The little
So-
gap in between.
Yeah, that bothers him.
Mhm.
He's so funny.
He
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, we should definitely start revisiting some people that we had on, early like last year, and then I'm definitely down to start. I've wanted to start traveling more to like jump to like other studios and do more remote shows, but maybe like once we start doing these conventions and I get in the routine of traveling again, it won't be hard to like, we could just come up to Michigan and hit 3 or 4 shops, get some like
Yeah.
a half hour, an hour of material from each one, and then we, I think it could just add a lot. I don't know. It's getting in the swing of traveling again. That's all it is. We just
Right.
got to get in the swing of traveling.
Yep, back in the swing.
Yep. I want to start making studio visits as well as just continuing to get different collectors on here.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna slip out of here.
Well, it's almost 2. Should we wrap up today and
Yep.
start playing with technology?
I'm down for that. I feel like we've had some pretty productive conversation the past couple hours. This
Yeah.
is one of the more
Yeah.
semi-heated, but also I feel like good communication, because now you understand our assertiveness on the situation, a little bit of how, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't write bad reviews.
reminder, tattooers, if you got squeaky wheel clients, just direct them to watch this show for a little bit. Like maybe that could be a hoop people go through. Like if you haven't watched the Tattoo Collecting podcast for 3 months,
Right.
don't talk to me yet.
Right. Because if you're watching the show, you wouldn't be about to write a bad review, probably, unless you've had some shit happen to you, because you've already heard it from us. You
Yeah.
know, you see how it goes. We talk about it. If anything, we talk about a lot of the epitomes of it, because, I don't know.
Somebody
I don't know.
needs
we
to.
have, yeah. Because I don't
Somebody
give a
needs
shit.
to.
I will tell you about every terrible client I have. I just have to be careful not to say their names because sometimes I really easily just want to. Daryl. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, I think it's really important to bridge the gap between tattooers and collectors and potential collectors, because like some people just like I say all the time, if you don't eat, sleep, and breathe this community, then you don't necessarily understand what life is like for us. So
this podcast goes out to Karen Dunn.
Karen D. We
KD.
decided that was her name. I
Right.
don't know her.
That
real
was the
name.
lady who left the bad review. KD.
KD. I don't know.
So Karen Dunn. We hope she doesn't listen to this podcast.
Or we hope she does.
Oh, I think you're right.
I hope she does.
And I hope you
So
leave
she's
an-
like,
another edited
"Aw."
review afterwards telling us how you feel now.
I'm sorry. I should have been patient for another few days. Oh, well.
Mhm.
Maybe she's mad we called her Karen.
Well, thanks for taking the time to join us, Todd. I always love it when
Yeah.
you chime in. I feel like I say all the time, I feel like your input is equally as important, if not more important than mine and Jordan's, because you're a collector and that's what this whole thing's about. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you as always.
Yeah.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah. Will you be able to
Thank
join us
you.
next week?
Probably.
Probably. Okay. Well, we will probably talk to you next week then.
All right.
All right, guys. See you next week. Next week will be episode 75, by the way.
75. What's that times? That's
It's
a lot of hours.
It's a lot of hours.